Pete Prisco recently put out his top 100 NFL players of 2024 on CBSSports.com.
All right, now I haven't seen this article, okay?
Yep.
And the way I'm thinking about it, because I might have a bleak answer for us.
Okay.
The way I'm thinking about it, there's basically 20-some positions, right?
I'm going to pull up the depth chart
22
here.
positions,
Mhm.
11
Yep.
on offense, 11 on defense, and special teams, whatever.
Yep.
You basically got to be top 5 at one of your positions, probably-ish, roughly-ish, sort of,
Yep.
generically, to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
We might have 0. We might have 0 in the top 100 because I don't think I love Terry. I don't think he's top 5 receiver.
Okay.
I mean, maybe Payne or Allen.
No, but he wasn't McLaurin on it last year?
I don't know. But, I mean,
I'd have to
Wasn't
pull up last
I don't
year's
care
list.
if
I
he
think
was
may
last
have
year.
Wasn't
been, but I'm
Jonathan
not-
Allen on it last year?
they might have been. But
Could've been.
Jonathan Allen didn't have a great year last year.
No, that's true. I thought McLaurin was on it last year.
Maybe Bobby Wagner. I'm going to, you know what I'm going to say?
There's no way Wagner's on it.
I'm going to say 0.
You're going to go with 0. Jason, do you have a guess?
And by the way, I
You
think
kind
we're
of
going to be
convinced me.
okay.
You kind of convinced me on McLaurin just because he didn't.
I mean, is
Now-
he top 5 at his position?
Terry was
No.
68 in Pete's 2023 list.
Right.
Okay,
And
but do
Cam
you think
Curl
he's-
was 85.
Okay.
Oh, Curl. So Allen was not on it.
I think Allen was honorable mention, maybe.
Okay. So, but last year, based on your rationale, he thought he was at least a top 5 receiver.
Ish.
Maybe higher if he was number 68.
Right, but I don't think. Yeah, but
Or
okay.
But he probably had he had
Listen,
more than 5
I'm glad
receivers
that
on.
maybe he's just being charitable.
He might have had 12 receivers in his top.
Yeah,
5.
I mean, you don't know. I'm just doing a rough thing.
But you kind of convinced me on that. I'm going to say
If you say 1, you got to name the 1.
I thought it was going to be McLaurin, but you convinced me. I'll say Jonathan Allen then is the only one.
I thought John had a down year last year.
And he was on. I don't know. It's a great question. I'm just going to say 1, and it's going to be one of those 2.
Okay. So it's one of those two.
I don't think Wagner. Wagner's way beyond his
Right.
years. Eckler, he was hurt
He
last
makes
year.
a ton of tackles.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think he's.
I mean,
gonna
you're just biased because he's old.
be, kind
What
of.
about
Well, he's
this-
past his prime. Yeah.
What about this? I think this is a controversial pick, but he's always loved in the PFF grading system.
Okay.
Sam Cosme. Right?
Yeah. I mean, he's
You wouldn't
he's
think you
usually
wouldn't-
graded pretty high.
He's always constantly graded high in
Right.
PFF. I think PFF had him as the number 2 ranked at his
I think
position.
that's a solid guess.
The
on
guy
your
who I
part.
think is tops at his
I
position
sleep on the offensive line.
is Tressway, but I'm not sure you would put him in the top 100.
No,
but
I
I think Tressway is like top 2 or 3 punters in
Right.
the league.
There's not going to be any punters.
I don't
in
know
this
if there's
top
any
100.
punters or even kickers.
All right,
on
I'm
this
saying
list.
1. You're saying how many? You already saw the list.
I've seen the
Okay.
list. So
All right, how many?
EB was correct.
0?
Made the list. Now, McLaurin and Jonathan Allen both made the honorable mention at the
Right.
bottom of the list.
Okay.
And some former commanders made the list. Most notably,
Hold
this
on.
guy's at
Hold
number 3 on the list of the top 100 players in the league.
3.
He's at number 3.
Kirk
Arguably
Cousins.
the best.
Hold on.
At,
No.
No way.
arguably the best at his position,
Well, I'm just trying to think
Oh,
of
maybe
former.
of all time.
It's Trent.
Trent Williams comes
Oh,
in at
Trent,
number
yeah,
3
okay.
on this list.
All right, he's got
And
a
look, I
tackle
know
at
that
number 3.
there were multiple bridges burned with him, with
Mhm.
his issues with the training staff, the way that his cancer
was the
issue
big
was
thing.
dealt with. Like he was never going to stay here. Ron didn't make it any better by
Yeah, they
Ron
boxed
kind
him.
of just shoved him out the door on his way in. So
That
he
was the best move for Trent Williams.
greatest move ever.
Greatest move
to
ever.
leave this organization.
All right, so I'm guessing Mahomes is 1 because he wins Super Bowls all the time.
Mahomes is at 1.
Micah number 2.
Micah is not number 2 on this list. It is a defensive player though.
Not Micah. Who am I sleeping on?
AFC North defensive player.
One of the Bosas.
No, it's not a Bosa.
TJ. Oh,
it's
North.
It's not a Watt.
What? It's not what? Oh, Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett comes in at number 2. Rounding out the top
All right.
10, he has Tyreek Hill at 4. He has TJ Watt 5. Josh Allen, the quarterback, not the defensive end, at 6. Justin Jefferson at 7. CMC at 8. Micah Parsons 9. And there is a Bosa in the top 10. He has Nick Bosa at number 10.
Wow.
All right, well, let's focus on my boys.
So no players in the top 100.
One other former commander makes the list. Montez Sweat comes in at number 73.
Kirk Cousins not in the
Kirk
top
Cousins,
100.
forgot him. He's, I think, at 97 on this list.
So he barely squeaked
He
in.
barely snuck in.
So here's what I would say. Even though I could anticipate that 0, and I wouldn't even necessarily argue it.
Mhm.
I still think we could be pretty solid. We just don't have real superstars.
Mhm.
Like if you did a top 200 list,
Well, you get 3
now
or 4.
I get McLaurin in.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Well, I'm just saying. Listen,
Stumping for a top 200 list.
well, I'm just
It's everything.
saying. I do think that we have good players. They're just not. We don't have superstars.
And again, it's not all his fault, but it's a lot his fault. This is very damning for Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I mean, this is
The
the
fact
roster
that
he
there's
put
not
together.
one top 100 player on, and I understand it's a journalist list, it's subjective,
It's just
but there's not one player that Ron brought into the building in 4 years
this
that
top
can
100.
make this list.
I
That's
think-
embarrassing, frankly.
I think Jaden. You could just. Can I give you my biased opinion
Sure.
of our roster?
Uh-huh.
I think Jaden has superstar potential. Maybe not this year, but he has superstar potential.
Mhm.
I think Eckler, obviously, if he reverts back to last year, 2 years ago, the guy's going to be
If he's
like
healthy,
a huge upgrade.
If he's healthy and
Double-digit
they
touchdowns.
use him properly, which I'm sure they
McLaurin is
will.
an established pro, very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who knows about Dotson and McCaffrey and all those other guys? That's basically it on the offense. Maybe Cosme, if you
Mhm.
like him. I always think he's a little overrated, but who knows? Defensively, Allen and Payne, they speak for themselves. They're very good players.
Yeah.
Okay, are they the best in the league? Probably not, but they're very good.
Pretty damn good
I
tandem.
think Bobby Wagner's pretty good. Everyone's screaming about Frankie Louvu.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So I got to put him in the pretty good. And then after that, I mean, who knows? So I think we got
Secondary
like,
has question
I think we got
marks.
like 6 or 7 guys that are pretty. Is that? And I think Tressway's one of the best punters in the game, which we need a punter.
Yeah.
I mean,
But he doesn't have any. I mean,
Is
if that was the case, then you'd have. Who's the best kicker in the league?
Currently,
it used to be the
Like,
Ravens guy, but I don't
yeah,
know.
Justin Tucker.
Oh, yeah, Tucker.
Yeah, Justin
If
Tucker.
you're gonna have a special teams guy, you'd have Tucker on.
Yeah. Hold on,
Top
Valdez, do you
100.
think that's being? That's my biased viewpoint. I think we have like 6
You
or
have a lot-
7 guys
you're-
that are
what you're saying is you
very good.
you have
No
a lot of
superstars.
honorable mentions.
We have a lot of honorable mentions. I do think there's some depth here. We don't have the only player I think on the roster that could be a superstar at this point
JD.
is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
And then he could prove early on that he's not going to be.
I think that's fair. In terms of a rebuild, you got to walk before you run. You're not.
we got a lot of very good players.
Where was
Right.
Stroud
No
on the
stars.
list? Stroud had to be on the list.
Stroud. Let me see. Have to
So this is
find
what you have
him.
to. If Stroud's on the list, which I'm guessing he probably is, based on his
He's
year,
got to be. I would think.
then that's what you need. You need for next year's top 100. You need JD
You
on
need
that
JD.
list.
I need JD.
You need to have
in a
that type of
perfect-
year.
I need him to be at a minimum 15 to 20.
He need to be.
in the
He needs to
quarterback
be on honorable mention at the worst next year.
Right.
Stroud is 38.
Wow.
Well, he played out of his mind. I just want to see him do that. Just do that again, just to solidify for me that it's the real deal. Probably is, but I want to see.
800-636-1067. Are you disappointed? Are you surprised? Do you think Prisco should have at least one guy in the top 100 for Washington?
I think it's probably fair. I think it's
a fair assessment of the roster currently.
But I don't think it means though that we suck. Like I think we're gonna be okay. But we still need more. We don't have stars.
After 2 or 3 Adam Peters drafts, there better be some guys popping up on this list.
1 or 2 at least. Yeah.
There can't be like a 4-year. It can't be like a Ron 4-year run with the draft picks.
Well, I think like you say in years past, they probably have had Allen on the list.
Mhm.
They probably had, like you say, McLaurin.
Maybe Payne.
And what good did that do us? We went freaking 4 games.
Yeah.
So I do think that I don't think there's any question that the roster's better than last
It's
year.
definitely better.
On paper.
Correct.
On paper,
And
better.
the coaching staff's better.
And the coaching staff's better.
In comparison, the 49ers, I think they have the most because I've been trying to calculate what teams have the most. They have 9 players on this list.
Oh, geez.
That's an outrageous number.
They've got Trent. They've got Debo. They've got
Ayuk.
C-Mac. They've got Ayuk, right? That's
Mhm.
4. They definitely have Bosa, 5. They've
Kittle.
Purdy.
got-
Ayuk.
Fred Warner's got to be on
Fred
it.
Warner's 22.
Charvarius Ward's got to be on it. Is he on it?
He's 60.
So how many is that? 7 or 8? Is Greenlaw on it?
Not sure
No.
if Greenlaw's on
No.
that list.
Did you
Wow.
say
And that-
Debo?
And that's
Debo, yeah.
encouraging because Adam Peters had to have a hand in drafting a lot of those players and finding those dudes.
So Keim interviewed one of the beat guys for the Niners,
Mhm.
and he said something interesting. I listened to this yesterday while I was working out. Why was I working out? Because I slept in. I had fresh
Sure.
fresh legs. I felt amazing.
You're ready to attack the day.
I had such an amazing day yesterday. And so as I'm listening, as I'm working out, he said something I thought very interesting. He said he thinks, now, Jason, you're going to laugh at this.
All right.
He thinks that the Commanders roster right now is a better starting point than when Kyle took over for the Niners when they started their rebuild. Because he talked about some of their first-round picks, or the early picks, like Reuben Foster didn't hit. There's another guy that didn't hit right before him they took. I can't remember. Maybe it was a D lineman or something. I can't remember who it was. It was somebody that didn't hit. He thinks that this core for Peters to start with is better than when Kyle came and the group he had to start with. And then they started acquiring talent.
I'd have to go back and look at it, but yeah.
But I thought that was good.
That's interesting.
We'll take your calls on the MGM National Harbor listener lines at 800-636-1067. Do you agree or disagree with Pete Prisco's assessment that the Commanders have 0 players in his top 100 NFL players list for 2024? We'll take your calls next at 800-636-1067.